Former Ravens safety Marcus Williams went on Terran Armstead's podcast to talk about some things, including his time with the Ravens and kind of try to figure out what happened. And one of the big things he talked about was the miscommunication between him and some of the coaching staff on the Ravens. He says here, to be frank, it was just a lot of miscommunication from the top down. Continuing to say, I take accountability for whatever action that I did that they didn't like, but I didn't know what actions those were, but I take accountability for maybe missed opportunities, maybe missed plays that I could have done better on. But as far as the communication from the top down, I feel like it could have been better. To add on to that, he continues to say they could have communicated properly and effectively so that there was no miscommunication when the switch was going to occur. He's referring to when he was benched in the later half of last season because, as you remember, he started about, I think, 7 or 8 games last year, but then he was benched and they started Eddie Jackson, but then Eddie Jackson got benched after the Cleveland game, and then pretty much after that Cleveland game, we didn't really see Marcus Williams pretty much play the rest of the year. He then goes on to say, I've played football for a long time. You just don't get bad overnight. And most people on the outside will believe that plays that were given up may have been on me, but they don't really know the depths of the coverage or what we were actually running, what we were told. They don't really know, but as a safety, my responsibility is to do whatever I can to show up in the screen and maybe possibly make a play. And some of you may remember from earlier this year, the Ravens hired a bunch of new coaches, especially on the defensive side. One of those coaches would be Donald DeLesio, I hope I'm saying that right, who is now the defensive backs coach for the Ravens. And then, of course, you have Matt Robinson, who is the outside linebackers coach. You then have Matt Pease, who was brought in to be the assistant linebackers coach. His father, Dean Pease, is now on the defensive staff in a consulting role. They also brought in Chuck Pagano to be a defensive assistant and secondary coach, and Tyler Santucci for the inside linebackers coaching position. So they've brought in a lot of different defensive coaches because obviously with the struggles we saw last year, and especially what we've seen from Marcus Williams and what he's talked about, that wasn't just a singular secondary issue. It was kind of just, especially the first half, a defense issue overall. Obviously, as we all know, they cleaned it up a lot better in the second half. There were still issues, but hey, from what we saw in the first half to the second half was a lot different and a lot better. And the response I've seen toward Marcus Williams, he was a bad safety, he's making excuses. We don't know what's going on in the building. We never really know. Obviously, there's Marcus Williams' side, and then there's the Ravens side, and then in the middle is the truth. So did Marcus Williams make some mistakes last year that could have led to his benching? Probably. There's a good chance. But there's also a good chance that the coaching staff also didn't fully do their job, and that which led to the miscommunication, which we've all seen happen throughout every single team in the league, that could have led to why Marcus Williams did not play in that second half. But either way, I wish Marcus the best. I'm still a fan of him. I wish things would have worked out better for him in Baltimore, but sadly it didn't. But he did get a nice contract out of it, so I guess that's kind of the silver lining, so he's able to help his family in that way. But either way, I wish him the best going forward.